Hey, Don. I like that mirror. Hey, Khalid, how are you?
Hey, good evening. I'm well. How are you?
Good. Let's see if we get enough numbers to show up. What do we need, 5?
Let me see.
Who's in attending? Valerie Mason, who's that? We're getting there. There's a Sunday. Hi, Sunday. How are you?
Hi, Jose. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
I'm happy to hear that.
We got Kenneth with us. How are you, Kenneth?
Hey everybody, good evening.
We lost Dawn, but I'm sure she'll be back. We're getting there to our quorum. This should be a very sweet and short meeting.
Jose, I'd send you an email from Wanda Hopkins. She requested to be excused from this meeting. She's working late.
Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle. If we get Dawn back, then we're good to go. There's Dawn. Perfect. Dawn, you don't know how much I missed you. Now we have quorum.
We have quorum, you said?
Yes, that's quorum.
Great.
That's 5 of us here, so we can start with tonight's very quick meeting. There's 2 items that we're here to speak about. The first one is, let's see what we put first here. East 117th. As all of you know, East 117th has been a project that's been going on for a long time. This was started by Councilwoman Diana Ayala. And it is to help with the pedestrian pathways. They came to our meeting several times. We asked them for very specific needs, particularly with a permanent, something permanent between the pedestrians and the vehicles. They were going their initial plan with plastic bollards. Now they have come back and they did put the granite blocks. But as we heard from the last meeting, they are going to go ahead with this. I know there were certain concerns, but these concerns with MTA, Accessoride, all of these things, we can work with them as we move forward, you know, because these are additional concerns that we have now, which are fine. But I don't want to set a precedent where, you know, they come in, they ask for particular, we ask for particular items, and then they deliver those items, and then we're still kind of like, you know, giving them a runaround. So I would like a motion to support DOT's 117th Street, because just to be clear, they are moving forward with this. So the letter they sent was very clear. DOT has updated the design to include granite blocks along the edge of pedestrian space, in addition to flexible delineators, including an initial proposal. Furthermore, per feedback received from the committee, overnight parking will be added to the south side to address the removal of overnight parking on the north side. So basically, everything we asked for, they delivered. So if we have further asks, as this program starts to, you know, get implemented and such, you know, we can make modifications. But this is where we're at. So I would like someone to propose a motion on this topic. I don't let everyone jump up at once. Kenneth, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to propose a motion, but I believe Dawn had a question in the chat. I'd just like to amplify. Do we know how much space is required for a person?
I
to
do
be
not
off-
know. I don't have that answer, unfortunately, but that is one of the topics that was brought up in the very last meeting. As per the communication that we had with them, that is something that they can further look into now that, you know, the project will be put into place. So it's a matter of kind of working alongside them as they're implementing. Michelle has a question, and then Dawn has a question.
It's not a question, I was just going to reiterate that they said that any sort of modifications can be done along the way, and that specific with Dawn, it's like a parking space and a half, the same amount of space that is actually in front of Applebee's right now is the space that they're currently using. So that would obviously be the same space that they would need to continue using. The same amount of space.
Thank you, Michelle. Dawn?
Thank you. I guess what I'm saying is, and I'm glad I have the proposal. If there are concrete blocks that are close enough together that a car can't park, are we sure that a person could be offloaded or onboarded onto an accessoride? And I tell you why, because I've seen special wheelchairs that require more space than you would think. I'm just curious, because even like, for example, like a handicap accessible bathroom, right? You think that it just has to be wide enough for a wheelchair, but it actually has to be wide enough to turn a wheelchair. It has to be, it can't just be like, you know, so I just wondered if we have looked into that. Just like I kind of wonder, I was on Fifth Avenue the other day, and Mount Sinai was just at a stand. I mean, that Mount Sinai traffic was at a standstill, and I just wonder what's going to happen when we bring a tour bus and stick it right there where people are trying to get in and out of Mount Sinai. So again, I mean, I'm just wondering in real life, how does this work? But if you guys are confident that they are going to place the stones far enough that accessoride can put a person, can offload a person, then, you know, that's more faith than I have in DOT, but I definitely am not going to hold everybody up with that.
I mean, I think that I am confident that DOT has actually been very forthcoming and open-handed with the situation. You know, we asked for certain requests, they fulfilled all of those requests. Now we're adding another request, but obviously they can't always, you know, we can go on in that trajectory forever and ever. We were told that they would work with us in these situations. So that's something that we will, at this current point, we have no reason not to believe, because they have been forthcoming. You know, we said that we won't approve it unless you give us XYZ, and they gave us XYZ. So I think from that position, obviously the city has a strong point with accessoride or accessibility. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to move these blocks in a way where a wheelchair can easily load, unload. So in that sense, I feel pretty confident, particularly since we brought them up in the meeting, and in the meeting they said, look, we can continue working with you moving forward. So that's where we're at.
Well, I mean, as long as the concerns are on the record.
Oh, they are on the record.
It comes back to us, you know, it will come back, because this will be a problem for a lot of people, but at least we talked about it and we thought about it, I guess.
Absolutely. So moving forward, if we do not make a motion, we will go on to our next item. But just know that this, you know, they're not going to wait for our motion. At that point, we're kind of minimizing our influence because, we take it from a business perspective. They came in, they asked us what we wanted, we told them what we wanted, in that sense, they've been very forthcoming. So we can, if you guys don't want to put a motion, that's fine, we'll move forward, but this construction will take place either way, which is what we've been told. Kenneth, you have a question or a comment or motion?
I'd like to propose a motion. And I also want to allay some of Dawn's concerns, but I don't know if she dropped off the call. But just for the record, page 11 of the PowerPoint that we received last week has a diagram showing where the concrete blocks are, and it seems to approximate the space that Accessorized more or less uses now. I think Michelle or someone else made that point earlier in the call. So, I hope that allays some concern about accessibility issues. And again, that being said, I'd like to make a motion for the community board to support the proposal to redesign East 117th Street between Pleasant Avenue and East River Mall as previously presented.
Including the granite blocks.
Yes, including the granite blocks as discussed and on the record.
Thank you, Kenneth. Michelle, are you seconding that motion?
Yes, I am seconding the motion.
Okay, beautiful. Then lead, let's take a roll call.
Okay, I'm gonna call out the members by last name in alphabetical order. I'm sorry, Jose, did you say roll call or roll vote?
Roll vote.
Roll vote. Okay, all right. So I just want to confirm that the members that are currently present, and then I'll go into the vote. I have Jose Altamirano,
Present.
Kenneth Crouch,
Present.
Osendi Garcia,
Present.
Marissa Mack,
Present.
Dawn Sanders,
Present.
and Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
Present.
Perfect. Okay, so we have 6 total members present right now, and I will be taking your roll call votes right now. Jose Altamirano,
Yes.
Kenneth Crouch,
Yes.
Osendi Garcia,
Yes.
Marissa Mack,
Yes.
Dawn Sanders,
Abstain.
and Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
Yes.
So the
Okay,
days
so-
have it.
Yes, the yes have it with 1 abstention. So we have, sorry, just to state it for the record, we have 5 votes in the affirmative and 1 vote abstaining. The motion carries.
Thank you. We're going to move forward to our next item, which is congestion. We formulated a statement from what I think was very helpful in putting it together as a statement from what the committee itself had discussed and put together. This was emailed to you. So this is a matter of, we would like to send this as our official stance from CB11 to the MTA. If you have any questions regarding it or any comments, any edits, this is the time. Michelle and then Kenneth.
Michelle, you're muted if you're speaking.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you just said. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Sure, we're now moving to our draft on congestion pricing, the pros and cons that we've put into place. We would like to send this to the MTA. So if we had any questions or concerns or anything to add, this was all the information that was gathered from the committee itself. This will be presented to full board so that we can send this to the MTA. The only thing I would like to add is a more, robust answer of CB11 is, because your position is either in favor or against, or either of those two with conditions. We give a lot of reasons as to being against, So I think that we should put it in our, you know, in the very beginning, that we would be against congestion pricing as it's currently being presented to us. Kenneth?
Yeah, that was really the only point I wanted to bring up is having that more affirmatively placed. And then just a quick question, since I'm new to this, do we typically cite studies or put links in? Is that something that's necessary to the process? And I think as written, the draft is excellent. So I'm just wondering if that's something, you know, supplemental to include as well.
It's not something that's, you know, a position put on by the board. As long as it's approved by the board, we don't necessarily need to have it, but it does make it look better when we have it, you know, but it's a matter of like, the whole position. But I think in this case, a lot of this is based on the information we're presenting alongside, you know, how devastating this will be to our neighborhood. Most people are looking this as, you know, economic segregation. Honestly, this is what I hear from everyone in the neighborhood. They're really outraged at how they're being, you know, pushed from not being able to drive or even taking a cab, because cabs currently are not exempted. I have a car service myself. We take a lot of patients to Bellevue, to specialists below 60th Street. You know, telling someone like that they would have to add $46 on a trip that was $20 or $30 each way. So $60, they would add. It would almost double. It's really outrageous. Michelle? Michelle, can you hear me? You're still muted.
I'm sorry, I was having difficulties.
Okay. It's happened. Do you have any comments or questions or concerns or?
Mine is just more so to vote on it.
Okay,
And
so a motion.
yes,
I would like, before we vote, I would like that language put in, Khalid. If we could put you know, the language to make it very clear, and say that CB11 is against congestion pricing as currently being presented by the MTA. And these are the reasons down. And I would probably like it at the very top, the beginning, so that they can start with that and then know our reasoning.
I'll work with Angel in terms of how
The exact language. Yeah, the language, you know, we're flexible in the language as long as we put that, you know,
Okay.
the exact, yeah. We'd like to express, you can just put express, you know, basically that sentence and then, okay, perfect. So then we're all in agreement with that edit that we're adding to this, which is basically saying CB11 is against congestion pricing as currently being implemented by the MTA. And these will be the reasoning.
I have my hand raised, but
There you go.
regarding
I'm
that.
sorry. You know what? Your hand melts in with the mirror. I couldn't see it. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
So my concern is just generally with the political spin for our community board. I mean, our community board is basically kind of like anti-personal car and is like front and center, and we are very like anti-car and pro-public transportation. So it would be, I don't think the entire committee board would go along with us being against congestion pricing, even if it came out of this committee, because we already spend so much time doing like basically doing whatever transportation alternatives. Like we spend a lot of time supporting these types of initiatives that are meant to discourage car use and encourage public transportation use. So I would feel uncomfortable putting that in there just because the blowback, like if I say we don't need any more bike lanes, the blowback is just immediate and I get vilified. So for us to come out and say that we don't want congestion pricing when all of the electeds are for it, like, I mean, I would just be interested to see who would be brave enough to push that for the full board, because as it is, we don't really stand up to any of
Fine,
these.
but here's the main
proposals.
question, right? Are you in favor or opposed to this draft as it is?
Well, I love this draft,
Perfect.
but there are more than 7 or 8 proposals. So I haven't seen all the proposals for congestion pricing. I know that the cheapest one is $9. The most expensive one is like you said, $23, so $46 round trip. So I haven't seen the proposals. And as far as I know, it doesn't matter what I think about congestion pricing. So what we should really try to do is mitigate the issues like getting residential parking permits and making
I
sure we're
understand, but
protected.
that is
And then
besides
also,
the point, Dawn. Like, we're
oh,
here
okay.
to do this right now.
So I have to abstain.
So,
I
you
hate,
know, like-
I hate to not be. And then Khalil brought up a really good point. I mean, sorry, Khalid brought up a good point about Richie Torres's article about air quality becoming worse. And are we for air quality becoming worse? So maybe
Well,
that should be added to
in
that.
case the rest of the committee hasn't read it, the article states that air quality in the Bronx will worsen due to vehicles in the city being exposed. I mean, but look, this is the work that we do. We're not here to please officials. We're here to do the community work. So if this is what we're in favor of, and this is what we're happy with, and this is our position, then this is our job in this committee. At that point, if this is where you're at, I would expect you to vote in favor of this. And then when we go to the full board, I would expect the committee to, you know, step behind their work. Otherwise, what ends up happening is that the city continues to do whatever it likes. You know, I do think that there is fault in your statement, Dawn. Like, it's not the community board that's in favor of removing vehicles. It's a city. I think the city has made it very clear in the last couple of mayors and city council transitions that they're doing everything possible to remove the city. They put, you know, these rent-a-car things in with Roundhouse. They're doing a lot of things, but that's not the community. This is the city. Now, our job as a community board is to do the work for the community. So if we're going to do that work, we have to do it based on what we think is right. And currently, we are opposing congestion pricing as it currently stands. You know, if you love it and you think it's great, then that's what we're going to do, and we're going to move forward with it. I mean, everything else, that's not what we're discussing. This meeting is to present this now so we can vote on it. Full board can vote on it tomorrow. Whether it passes, it doesn't, we did our job. This was the position of this committee. And then after that, if full board votes on it, we can submit it to MTA, because we have until the 29th, which is, I believe, the end of this week, to submit, which is why we're pushing this. This is why we're having this special meeting. Is more so for congestion than it was for 117, just to be clear. So at this point, Michelle, you have a question, comment?
I'd like to make a motion for to be against congestion pricing in Lower Manhattan.
Second.
Okay, so the motion would be to submit this as our official position, CB11, and obviously our position is to be against opposing the current implementation. So we're adopting our position in this, the draft that we currently have, and the staff will, you know, make the language better than mine. I'm an immigrant, so we have Michelle voted and made the motion, and I believe I heard Kenneth second it. Is that correct, Kenneth?
I don't know if it was me, but I certainly second.
Okay, then Kenneth seconds, and let's do a roll call vote, and we'll see where we stand.
Okay, members, let me just confirm to make sure that we're all still here. Jose Altamira is still, Altamirano is still here. Kenneth Crouch, you're still here. Rosendi Garcia is still here. Marissa Mack. Okay, so I maybe Marissa has left.
So good.
I'm sorry? Yes, we would still be in.
509.
Yes, yes. Okay, and Don Sanders, you're still here, and Michelle Wilshire Clement is still here. Also, Jose, I just want to let you know that there is an attendee who had their hand raised, just to let you know on that.
I will see that after the motion. We're ready.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm calling the roll vote. Jose Altamirano,
In favor.
Kenneth Crouch,
In favor.
Osendi Garcia,
In favor.
is out. Don Sanders,
I was in favor of the original draft, and the new amendment I am not in favor of.
so you are not in favor of the current draft, is what you're saying. You're not in favor.
As amended just now, no, I'm not in favor.
Understood. And Michelle Wilshire Clement,
I am in favor.
understood. Okay, we have 5 total members. 4 have voted in favor. 1 has voted not in favor. The motion has carried.
Thank you very much, Khalid. Okay, do we have any more questions or concerns? I think so that the hand was dropped already from the attendees. Okay, then if we have no more questions or concerns, I would like to end tonight's special meeting. I would like to thank you all for being here. Appreciate you as always. We will look forward to doing the good work for our community. Thank you all. Have a good night.
Night, everybody.
Good
Good night.
Night.